The net worth you need at every age. Most people have no idea if they are actually doing well financially. You might feel behind. Or maybe you think you are ahead. But without real numbers, you are just guessing. Here is what nobody tells you. Net worth benchmarks exist. They are based on data from the Federal Reserve. And they reveal exactly where you should be at every age if you want to build real wealth. This is not about comparing yourself to trust fund kids or lottery winners. This is about understanding what rich actually means at each stage of life. And more importantly, how to get there with specific actions you can take this week. By the end of this, you will know your target net worth for your age. You will have a clear framework for closing the gap. And you will walk away with tools you can use immediately. Later, I will give you the 2-minute version you can execute today. But here is the thing. No need to pause or take notes. There is a toolkit in the description with all the tools and a 7-day checklist. You can use it later. This is for you if you are between 18 and 60, you want honest benchmarks without the participation trophy nonsense, and you are willing to take action instead of just consuming content. This is not for you if you think money does not matter, you want to feel good about being average, or you are looking for get-rich-quick schemes. Let me be clear. You are in a competition whether you admit it or not. The question is whether you are playing to win or playing to feel comfortable. The problem and the real cause. Here is the reality. Most people have no baseline. They earn money. They spend money. They save a little. But they have no idea if they are winning or losing. You might make $80,000 a year and feel successful. Or you might make $120,000 and feel broke. Without context, your financial life is just noise. The real problem is not that you are bad with money. The problem is you are navigating without a map. You do not know what good looks like at 25 versus 35 versus 45. So you either beat yourself up for being behind or coast when you should be accelerating. Here is a concrete example. A 28-year-old with $15,000 in savings might think they are doing fine. Their friends are in debt. They have a steady job. It feels okay. But according to Federal Reserve data, the average net worth for someone their age is $49,000. To be considered rich, they would need $59,000. Suddenly, okay does not look so okay. The system is not aligned with reality. Social media shows you highlight reels. Your parents give you advice from a different economy. And financial gurus sell you courses instead of frameworks. You are not behind. You just need the right targets and a plan to hit them. The framework. I am calling this the age-based wealth ladder. It has 5 rungs. Each rung represents a different age bracket with specific net worth targets and milestones. Here is how it works. Rung 1 is ages 18 to 24. Foundation building. This is about creating good habits and avoiding stupid mistakes. Rung 2 is ages 25 to 29. Income acceleration. This is where you start making real money and taking calculated risks. Rung 3 is age 30 plus. The multiplier decade. Your wealth should compound faster here than any other period. Rung 4 is ages 40 to 49. Peak earning years. You maximize income and prepare for the next phase. Rung 5 is age 50 plus. Wealth preservation and freedom. You shift from earning to protecting and enjoying. Each rung has a net worth target. That target is calculated as 20% higher than the average for your age group. Why 20%? Because average includes people who are not trying. If you want to be rich, you need to outpace the average by a meaningful margin. Each rung also has specific milestones. These are concrete actions that move you toward your target. They are not vague advice like save more or invest wisely. They are things like have 750 credit score by age 29 or pay off your mortgage by age 49. If you are driving or working out, just listen. The toolkit has the full steps. The beauty of this framework is it removes ambiguity. You know exactly where you should be. You know exactly what actions matter. And you can measure progress every year. Ages 18 to 24, foundation building. Net worth target, $34,448. Let me break down what that number means. The average net worth for this age group is $28,707. But here is the thing. That average is skewed. The top 10% holds 70% of the wealth in this bracket. The median net worth is only $8,216. So if you hit $34,448 by age 24, you are genuinely ahead. Not just participating. Winning. Difficulty rating, 3 out of 5. This phase is not about making big money. It is about setting up systems that will carry you for decades. Most people waste their late teens and early 20s. They think they have time. They do not. Tool 1. The Emergency Fund. What it is: 3 to 6 months of living expenses saved in cash or easily accessible accounts. When to use it: starting right now. Before you invest a single dollar. Before you buy anything you do not need. Here is why this matters. Life will punch you in the face. Your car will break down. You will lose a job. Someone will get sick. If you do not have a buffer, these events derail everything. You go into debt. You miss opportunities. You stay stuck. Example: you are 22. You spend $2,000 a month. Your emergency fund should be between $6,000 and $12,000. That sounds like a lot. It is not. If you save $500 a month, you hit the low end in 1 year. Here is the 7-day mini-experiment. Track every dollar you spend for the next week. Not to judge yourself. Just to know the number. At the end of the week, multiply your average daily spending by 30. That is your monthly burn rate. Multiply by 3. That is your minimum emergency fund target. Common failure mode: you save for 3 months, then raid the fund for something that is not an emergency. A trip. A gadget. A night out. The fix: open a separate savings account. Name it Do Not Touch. Set up automatic transfers on payday. Treat it like a bill you owe to your future self. If this is useful, subscribe, like, and turn on the notification bell. It helps more people find these audiobooks. Tool 2. Avoiding bad debt. What it is: saying no to debt that does not increase your earning potential. When to use it: every time you feel the urge to finance something that depreciates. Student loans are a gray area. If you need a degree for a high-paying career, the debt might be worth it. If you are getting a degree in something with no job market, it is probably not. You have to run the math on your individual situation. But here is what is never worth it. Credit card debt for stuff you do not need. Car loans for vehicles you cannot afford. Personal loans for vacations. Example: you want a $30,000 car. You earn $40,000 a year. The monthly payment is $500. That is 15% of your gross income before taxes. After taxes, it is closer to 20%. For a car that will be worth $15,000 in 5 years. Bad decision. Buy a $10,000 car. Drive it for 3 years. Save the difference. Then upgrade if you want. Here is the 7-day mini-experiment. List every monthly payment you have. Car. Phone. Subscriptions. Financing plans. Add them up. If the total is more than 20% of your after-tax income, you are bleeding money. Pick one to cancel or pay off this week. Common failure mode. You justify bad debt by calling it an investment in yourself or saying you deserve it. The fix: ask one question. Will this purchase increase my income within 12 months? If no, do not finance it. Tool 3. Building credit the right way. What it is: using a credit card responsibly to build your credit score without falling into debt. When to use it: as soon as you have stable income and self-control. A credit card is a tool, not free money. If you use it right, it builds your credit score, which saves you tens of thousands of dollars in interest over your lifetime. If you use it wrong, it destroys you. Here is the strategy. Get one credit card. Use it for regular expenses like groceries and gas. Pay off the full balance every month. Never carry a balance. Never pay interest. Example: you get a credit card with a $1,000 limit. You spend $300 a month on groceries and gas. You pay it off in full when the statement arrives. After 6 months, your credit score starts climbing. After 3 years, you are above 750. That is excellent credit. Now when you need a car loan or mortgage, you get the best rates. A 1% difference in interest rate on a $300,000 mortgage saves you over $60,000 over 30 years. Here is the 7-day mini experiment. If you do not have a credit card, research one with no annual fee and decent rewards. Apply this week. If you already have one, check your credit utilization. It should be below 30% of your limit. If it is higher, pay down the balance. Common failure mode. You treat the credit limit like extra income. You spend money you do not have because the card approves it. The fix: set a hard rule. Only use the card for purchases you already budgeted. If the money is not in your checking account, do not swipe. Tool 4. Investing in your skills. What it is: spending time and money to increase your earning potential. When to use it: every single week of your 20s. Your human capital is your biggest asset. Not your car. Not your apartment. You. The skills you have and the value you can create. Most people coast after they get their first job. They stop learning. They stop improving. Then they wonder why their income plateaus. Here is the reality. If you invest 10 hours a week learning a high-value skill, you can double your income in 3 years. That is not a guess. That is math. Example: you work in marketing making $45,000 a year. You spend 10 hours a week learning data analysis and SEO. In 18 months, you are qualified for a role that pays $70,000. You just gave yourself a $25,000 raise. That compounds every year for the rest of your career. Here is the 7-day mini experiment. Pick one skill that is valued in your industry. Find a free course or YouTube playlist. Commit to 1 hour a day for the next week. At the end of the week, assess if you want to keep going. Common failure mode. You start learning something, get distracted by something shinier, and never finish. The fix: pick one skill. Stick with it for 90 days minimum. Results take time. Jumping around gets you nowhere. Tool 5. Understanding the stock market. What it is: learning how to invest in index funds and building wealth through compound growth. When to use it: as soon as you have your emergency fund in place. The stock market is not gambling. It is not day trading. It is not crypto. It is buying small pieces of companies that grow over time. If you invest in a low-cost index fund, you get the average return of the entire market. Historically, that is about 10% per year. Some years more. Some years less. But over 30 years, the math is absurd. Example: you invest $200 a month starting at age 22. You do this until age 62. You never increase the amount. At 10% average annual return, you end up with over $1.3 million. That is not a trick. That is just time and compounding. Here is the 7-day mini experiment. Open a brokerage account this week. Many platforms offer free sign-up bonuses. Deposit $50. Buy one share of an index fund. You are now an investor. The hardest part is starting. Common failure mode. You think you need thousands of dollars to start. Or you wait for the perfect moment. Or you get paralyzed by options. The fix: start small. Start now. You can always add more later. The best time to invest was 10 years ago. The second best time is today. Quick recap. And remember, the toolkit is there so you can revisit this without rewinding. Ages 18 to 24 are about foundation. Build your emergency fund. Avoid bad debt. Use credit wisely. Invest in your skills. Learn to invest. Do these 5 things and you will hit $34,448 in net worth by age 24. More importantly, you will have systems that carry you into your 30s. Ages 25 to 29, income acceleration. Net worth target, $59,265. The average net worth for this age group is $49,388. The median is $7,512. Yes, you heard that right. The median is lower than the previous age bracket. Why? Because most people in their mid-20s do not understand money. They increase their spending as their income goes up. They finance lifestyles they cannot afford. The gap between the rich and everyone else widens fast. Difficulty rating: 5 out of 5. This is the hardest phase. You need to increase your income dramatically. You need to take risks. You need to stop playing it safe. Most people cannot do this. They are too comfortable or too scared. Tool 6. Building 1 year of spending in reserves. What it is: expanding your emergency fund to 12 months of living expenses in liquid or semi-liquid assets. When to use it: as soon as you have stable income above $50,000. This is not just about emergencies anymore. This is about freedom. 1 year of reserves means you can quit a bad job. You can take time to find the right opportunity. You can start a business without panic. Example: you spend $3,000 a month. 1 year of reserves is $36,000. That does not all need to be in cash. You can keep 6 months in a high-yield savings account. The other 6 months can be in investments you can access quickly. Some people put money into assets like watches or collectibles. If you know what you are doing, that works. Just make sure you can convert them to cash within a week if needed. Here is the 7-day mini experiment. Calculate your monthly spending. Multiply by 12. That is your reserve target. Write it down. Now look at your current savings. What is the gap? Divide the gap by 24. That is how much you need to save per month to hit your target in 2 years. Common failure mode: you hit 6 months of savings and feel comfortable. You stop pushing. The fix: automate it. Set up a monthly transfer that continues until you hit 12 months. Do not rely on willpower. Tool 7. Eliminating all bad debt. What it is: paying off student loans, credit cards, and any other debt that is bleeding you dry. When to use it: right now. This is non-negotiable. Student loans are a weight. Even if the interest rate is low, the psychological burden is real. You cannot build wealth while you are sending checks to loan services every month. Example: you have $30,000 in student loans at 5% interest. Minimum payment is $300 a month. If you pay the minimum, you will be in debt for 10 years and pay over $6,000 in interest. Instead, you cut expenses, increase your income, and throw an extra $500 a month at it. You are debt-free in 3 years. You save $4,000 in interest. More importantly, you free up $800 a month for the next 7 years. That money can now go toward investments. Here is the 7-day mini experiment. List all your debts. Write down the balance, interest rate, and minimum payment for each. Pick the smallest balance. This week, find one expense you can cut and redirect that money to the smallest debt. This is the debt snowball method. Small wins build momentum. Common failure mode: you try to pay off everything at once. You spread your extra payments too thin. Nothing moves fast enough to feel progress. The fix: focus on one debt at a time. Kill it. Move to the next. Repeat. Tool 8. Reaching a 750 credit score. What it is: building excellent credit that saves you money for decades. When to use it: throughout your 20s with consistent habits. A 750 credit score is not hard to achieve. It just takes 3 years of doing the basics. Pay your bills on time. Keep your credit card balances low. Do not open 10 new accounts in 1 year. Example: you start at age 25 with a 650 credit score. You set up automatic payments for all your bills. You keep your credit card utilization below 30%. You do not miss a single payment for 3 years. By age 28, you are above 750. Now when you apply for a mortgage, you qualify for the best rates. When you rent an apartment, landlords say yes. When you apply for a business loan, banks take you seriously. Here is the 7-day mini experiment. Check your credit score this week. Most banks and credit cards offer free score tracking. Look at the factors hurting your score. If it is late payments, set up auto-pay. If it is high utilization, pay down balances. If it is lack of history, just keep doing what you are doing. Common failure mode: you obsess over your score. You check it daily. You get discouraged when it does not move. The fix: check it once a quarter. Make sure you are doing the right things. Then let time do the work. Tool 9. Increasing your income aggressively. What it is: making significantly more money through raises, side hustles, or starting a business. When to use it: every single year of your late 20s. Here is the hard truth. You cannot save your way to wealth on a $40,000 salary. You need to make more money. A lot more. Most people are too scared to ask for a raise. Or they stay in comfortable jobs that underpay them. Or they watch YouTube videos about starting a business but never actually start. This is the decade to take risks. You are young. You probably do not have kids. You can handle failure. So go for it. Example, you work a corporate job making $55,000. You ask for a raise and get 10%. That is $5,500 more per year. You also start a side hustle building websites. You make an extra $1,000 a month. That is $12,000 a year. You just increased your income by 31% in 1 year. That extra money does not go to a nicer apartment. It goes to investments. It goes to building wealth. Here is the 7-day mini experiment. This week, research what people in your role actually make. Use sites like Glassdoor or Payscale. If you are underpaid by more than 10%, schedule a meeting with your manager to discuss compensation. If you are fairly paid, brainstorm 3 side hustle ideas you could start with skills you already have. Common failure mode. You make more money and immediately increase your lifestyle. Bigger apartment. Nicer car. Expensive dinners. The fix. Lock in your lifestyle at your previous income level. Every raise goes to savings and investments. Live like you make what you made 2 years ago. Tool 10. Investing 10 to 15% of your income. What it is: putting a meaningful portion of your income into assets that grow. When to use it: as soon as your emergency fund is built and bad debt is gone. This is where wealth actually starts. 10 to 15% might sound like a lot. It is not. If you make $60,000, that is $6,000 to $9,000 a year. That is $500 to $750 a month. You can invest in stocks, real estate, businesses, or anything else you understand. The key is understanding. Do not invest in crypto because your friend got rich. Do not buy rental properties because a guru told you to. Pick one area. Learn everything about it. Then go deep. Example, you decide to focus on index fund investing. You open a brokerage account. You set up automatic monthly contributions of $600. You buy a total market index fund. You do this every month for 5 years without stopping. At 10% average return, you have over $46,000 after 5 years. That is from contributions and growth. You did not time the market. You did not pick stocks. You just showed up consistently. Here is the 7-day mini experiment. Pick one investment type to research this week. Read 3 articles or watch 3 videos from credible sources. By the end of the week, decide if this is something you want to pursue. If yes, take one action. Open an account. Make a first purchase. Schedule a call with someone who knows more than you. Common failure mode. You try to diversify too early. You put a little in stocks, a little in crypto, a little in real estate. You spread yourself too thin and learn nothing deeply. The fix: pick one. Master it. Then diversify later. If you only do one thing from this age bracket, make it this. Increase your income and invest the difference. That one decision will determine whether you hit $59,265 by age 29 or stay stuck at the median of $7,512. This is exactly what the toolkit is for. So keep listening now, then use the checklist later when you are at your desk. Age 30 plus, the multiplier decade. Net worth target, $238,087. The average net worth at age 30 is $198,406. The median is $45,315. This is when the gap explodes. If you did the work in your 20s, your 30s will compound faster than any other decade. Difficulty rating, 3 out of 5. The hard part is already done. You built the foundation. You increased your income. Now you just have to manage it without screwing it up. Tool 11. Saving 4 years of spending. What it is: having 4 years of living expenses in liquid investments. When to use it: this is your safety net and your freedom fund. 4 years might sound excessive. It is not. This is what gives you real options. You can take a sabbatical. You can start a business. You can walk away from toxic situations. This does not sit in cash. That would be silly. You invest it in assets you can access within a few weeks if needed. Index funds, bonds, dividend stocks. Example, you spend $4,000 a month. 4 years is $192,000. That is invested in a brokerage account. It grows. It generates dividends. But if you need it, you can sell and have cash in 3 days. Here is the 7-day mini experiment. Calculate your 4-year number. Compare it to your current liquid investments. If there is a gap, figure out how much you need to invest monthly to close it in 5 years. Adjust your budget accordingly. Common failure mode. You let lifestyle inflation eat your progress. You make more money, so you spend more. The gap never closes. The fix: increase your savings rate as your income grows. If you get a $10,000 raise, put $7,000 toward investments. Keep $3,000 for lifestyle. Tool 12. Considering homeownership. What it is: buying a house for yourself instead of renting. When to use it: when you plan to stay in one place for 5 years or more and you can afford a 20% down payment without draining your reserves. I am not a huge fan of buying a home in your 20s. You do not know where you will be. You do not have the income stability. But by age 30, if you are settled, it makes sense. A house is forced savings. Your mortgage payment builds equity. The value hopefully goes up over time. And you stop paying rent that disappears forever. Example, you buy a $300,000 house with a $60,000 down payment. Your mortgage is $1,500 a month. Rent in your area is $2,000. You save $500 a month. Plus, you are building equity. Plus, the house appreciates. In 10 years, it is worth $400,000 and you owe $180,000. You have $220,000 in equity. Here is the 7-day mini experiment. If you are thinking about buying, run the rent versus buy calculator. Be honest about the numbers. Include maintenance, taxes, and insurance. If buying saves you money and you plan to stay put, start looking at properties this week. If it doesn't, that's okay too. There's no hard rule on when to buy a house. Common failure mode. You buy too much house because the bank approves you for it. You become house poor. The fix: buy based on what you can comfortably afford, not what you are approved for. Your mortgage payment should be no more than 25% of your take-home pay. What it is: using government-approved retirement and savings accounts to reduce your tax bill. When to use it: every single year without exception. Taxes are your biggest expense. If you make $100,000, you might pay $25,000 in taxes. That is $25,000 that could be invested instead. Tax-advantaged accounts let you keep more of your money. Every country has these. In the US, it is 401 Burmese Kyats and IRAs. In the UK, it is ISAs and pensions. In Canada, it is RRSPs and TFSAs. In Australia, it is superannuation. Your country has something similar. The concept is the same everywhere. You either reduce your taxable income today or you grow your money tax-free forever. Sometimes both. Example, you contribute to your employer retirement plan. That is pre-tax. Your taxable income drops from $100,000 to $77,500. You save about $5,600 in taxes depending on your country. That $5,600 can now be invested. Over 30 years, that one decision is worth over $100,000. Here is the 7-day mini experiment. Check if your employer offers retirement matching. If they do and you are not contributing enough to get the full match, you are leaving free money on the table. Increase your contribution this week to capture the match. Common failure mode. You do not contribute because you think you need the money now more than later. The fix: future you is depending on present you. Do not let them down. Tool 14. Investing 20% of your income. What it is: putting a larger portion of your income into wealth-building assets. When to use it: throughout your 30s as your income peaks. You increased it to 10 to 15% in your late 20s. Now you push to 20%. This is the decade where compounding really kicks in. If you make $90,000, 20% is $18,000 a year. That is $1,500 a month. Invested at 10% for 20 years, that becomes over $1.1 million. Example, you set up automatic contributions. 401k Roth IRA. Brokerage account. Every paycheck, 20% gets invested before you see it. You adjust your lifestyle to the remaining 80%. Here is the 7-day mini experiment. Calculate your current savings rate. Divide your annual investments by your annual income. If it is below 20%, identify one expense to cut or one income stream to add. Redirect that money to investments. Common failure mode. You start investing 20%, then life happens. Kids. Weddings. Emergencies. You drop back to 5% and never recover. The fix. Treat your investment contributions like a non-negotiable bill. Everything else adjusts around it. The biggest risk in your 30s is lifestyle creep. You make more money. You think you deserve nicer things. You upgrade everything. Then you wonder why your net worth is not growing. Lock in your lifestyle. Invest the raises. Stay focused. Ages 40 to 49, peak earning and planning. Net worth target, $831,116. The average net worth for this age group is $692,597. The median is $145,771. These are your highest earning years. Your value is at its peak. Your investments are compounding hard. Difficulty rating, 2 out of 5. By now, you have systems in place. You know what you are doing. The biggest risk is life changes like marriage, kids, or career shifts that derail your progress. Tool 15. Reaching 10 years of spending in liquid investments. What it is: having a decade of living expenses invested and accessible. When to use it: this is your retirement checkpoint. The 25x rule says you need 25 times your annual spending to retire and maintain your lifestyle. 10 years of spending is 40% of the way there. If you hit this by age 40, retirement at 60 is almost guaranteed. Example, you spend $60,000 a year. 10 years is $600,000. That is invested in a diversified portfolio. It generates returns. It compounds. By age 60, it will likely be worth over $1.5 million without adding another dollar. Here is the 7-day mini experiment. Calculate your 10-year target. Compare it to your current investment balance. If there is a gap, figure out your monthly contribution needed to close it by age 50. Adjust your plan. Common failure mode. You hit 10 years of spending and mentally check out. You stop contributing. You coast. The fix: keep going. The goal is not to barely retire. The goal is to retire comfortably with options. Tool 16. Paying off your mortgage. What it is: eliminating the debt on your primary residence. When to use it: anytime in your 40s when you have excess cash flow. I am all for leveraging debt to build wealth. But your personal home is different. Paying it off gives you peace of mind. It reduces your monthly expenses in retirement. It guarantees you always have a place to live. Example, you have $200,000 left on your mortgage at 4% interest. You make extra payments of $1,000 a month. You pay it off in 12 years instead of 25. You save over $80,000 in interest. Here is the 7-day mini experiment. Look at your mortgage statement. Find out how much extra you can pay each month without penalty. Even an extra $200 a month cuts years off your own. Common failure mode. You argue that investing the money would give you better returns than paying off a low-interest mortgage. Maybe. But returns are not guaranteed. A paid-off house is. The fix: split the difference. Invest some. Pay down the mortgage with the rest. Tool 17. Investing 30% of your income. What it is: maximizing your wealth accumulation during peak earning years. When to use it: throughout your 40s. You are making the most money you will ever make. Your salary is high. Your business is profitable. Your side hustles are mature. This is the time to push. 30% sounds aggressive. It is. But if you make $150,000, That is $45,000 a year. That is $3,750 a month. Invested over 10 years at 10%, that becomes over $900,000. Example, you automate everything. Max out your 401k. Max out your Roth IRA. Invest the rest in a brokerage account. You do not see the money. It goes straight to investments. Here is the 7-day mini experiment. Review your income and expenses. Find 30% of your gross income. If you are not investing that much, identify where the gap is. Cut an expense or increase an income stream. Common failure mode. You think you will invest more later. You keep waiting for the perfect time. It never comes. The fix: automate now. Future you will thank you. Tool 18. Planning your exit if you own a business. What it is: creating a strategy to sell or transition your business in your late 40s. When to use it: if you are a business owner approaching 50. Running a business takes energy. As you get older, that energy fades. If you sell in your late 40s, you get a lump sum to invest. That money has 10 to 15 years to grow before retirement. If you wait until your 60s, the money does not have time to compound. You also risk burning out or the business declining. Example, you own a business worth $2 million. You sell it at age 48. After taxes, you net $1.4 million. You invest it. At 8%, that becomes $3 million by age 60. You can retire comfortably. Alternatively, you bring in a CEO. You step into a chairman role. You keep equity. The business keeps running. You get passive income. Here is the 7-day mini experiment. If you own a business, schedule a meeting with an advisor to discuss exit strategies. Get a valuation. Understand your options. Even if you do not sell, knowing the value helps you plan. Common failure mode: you hold on too long. Your identity is tied to the business. You cannot let go. The business suffers. You suffer. The fix: separate your identity from your business. You are not your company. Plan the transition early. By this point, you are financially stable. You have options. You have freedom. The next decade is about protecting what you built and enjoying it. Age 50 plus, preservation and freedom. Net worth target: $1,237,884. The average net worth for people in their 50s is $1,031,570. The median is $182,454. If you follow the plan, you are well above average. Your money is working for you. You are working because you want to, not because you have to. Difficulty rating: 1 out of 5. You did the hard work already. Now it is maintenance. Tool 19. Reaching 25 years of spending in liquid assets. What it is: having enough money invested to retire and never run out. When to use it: this is your retirement freedom number. The 25x rule is simple. If you have 25 times your annual spending invested, you can withdraw 4% per year and never deplete the principal. That 4% covers your expenses. The remaining growth keeps up with inflation. Example, you spend $50,000 a year. 25 times that is $1.25 million. Invested in a balanced portfolio that generates $50,000 a year in safe withdrawals. You can live off it forever. Here is the 7-day mini experiment. Calculate your 25x number. Compare it to your current investments. If you are close, start planning your retirement timeline. If there is a gap, figure out how to close it in the next 5 to 10 years. Common failure mode: you hit the number and immediately quit your job. Then you realize you are bored. You have no purpose. You go back to work out of boredom, not need. The fix: before you retire, have a plan for what you will do with your time. Hobbies. Volunteering. Part-time passion projects. Retirement is not the end. It is the beginning of a new phase. Tool 20. Eliminating all debt. What it is: paying off every loan, mortgage, and balance you owe. When to use it: before you retire. Debt is fine when you are building wealth. It can accelerate your progress. But in retirement, it is a burden. You have fixed income. Every monthly payment reduces your freedom. Pay it all off. mortgage, car loans, everything. Then your expenses drop. Your stress drops. Your freedom increases. Example, you retire with a $1,000 mortgage payment. That is $12,000 a year you need from investments. If you pay off the mortgage before retiring, you only need $38,000 instead of $50,000. Your 25x number drops from $1.25 million to $950,000. You can retire sooner. Here is the 7-day mini experiment. List all remaining debts. Create a payoff plan that eliminates them before your target retirement date. Adjust your budget to accelerate payments. Common failure mode. You hold on to low-interest debt because the math says you should invest instead. Maybe. But peace of mind is worth more than 2% extra return. The fix: pay it off. Sleep better. Tool 21. Creating a will. What it is: a legal document that specifies what happens to your assets when you die. When to use it: as soon as you have assets worth protecting. You do not legally need a will. But if you have spent decades building wealth, you probably want to control where it goes. Without a will, the state decides. That is rarely what you would have chosen. Example, you have a house, investments, and personal property worth over $1 million. You write a will specifying who gets what. You name guardians for your kids if they are still minors. You avoid family fights and legal fees. Here is the 7-day mini experiment. If you do not have a will, research estate planning attorneys this week. Schedule a consultation. If you already have a will, review it. Make sure it still reflects your wishes. Common failure mode. You avoid it because thinking about death is uncomfortable. The fix: do it anyway. Future grieving family members will thank you. Tool 22. Getting life insurance. What it is: a policy that pays your family if you die. When to use it: if anyone depends on your income. Life insurance is not for you. It is for the people you leave behind. If you are the primary earner and you die, your family loses that income. Life insurance replaces it. Example, you make $120,000 a year. You get a 20-year term life insurance policy for $1 million. It costs about $50 a month. If you die, your family gets $1 million tax-free. That replaces 8 years of your income. It gives them time to adjust. Here is the 7-day mini experiment. If you do not have life insurance, get quotes this week. Term life is cheap and simple. Avoid whole life or universal life unless you have specific estate planning needs. Common failure mode. You think you are invincible. You put it off. Then something happens and your family is financially devastated. The fix: get the policy. It takes 20 minutes. You have done the work. You built wealth. You protected it. Now you get to enjoy it. Travel. Hobbies. Time with family. Financial freedom is not about having the most money. It is about having enough to live the life you want without stress. The 2-minute version. Here is what you can do today. 1. Calculate your target net worth for your age. Use 20% above average. 2. Calculate your current net worth. Add up all assets. Subtract all liabilities. 3. Identify the gap. 4. Pick one tool from your age bracket. Focus on that this week. 5. Download the toolkit. It has every tool, every milestone, and a 7-day plan. The 7-day Rewire Plan. Day 1. Calculate your current net worth. 5 minutes. Day 2. Identify your age bracket target. Compare it to your current number. Write down the gap. 5 minutes. Day 3. Review the tools for your age bracket. Pick the one with the biggest impact. 10 minutes. Day 4. Take one concrete action on that tool. Open an account. Make a payment. Schedule a meeting. 30 minutes. Day 5. Set up one automation. Automatic transfer to savings. Automatic investment contribution. Automatic bill payment. 15 minutes. Day 6. Cut one expense that does not add value to your life. Redirect that money to your priority tool. 15 minutes. Day 7. Review your progress. Adjust your plan if needed. Schedule your next action for next week. 10 minutes. This plan takes less than 2 hours total. But it gives you clarity and momentum that is worth more than any amount of passive content consumption. Closing summary. Here is what you need to remember. 1. Net worth benchmarks are real. They are based on data. They tell you if you are winning or losing. 2. Rich means 20% above average for your age. That is the target. 3. Every age bracket has specific tools and milestones. Do the work for your stage. Do not skip ahead. Do not fall behind. Your next step is simple. Download the toolkit. Pick one tool. Take one action this week. Thank you for listening. Subscribe, like, and turn on the notification bell. And check out the free toolkit in the description so you do not have to take notes. Share this with one friend who has no idea if they are on track financially. Once they know their target, they can finally stop guessing and start building real wealth. You are not behind. You are not ahead. You are exactly where you are. The only question is what you do next.